the other.
All right, we back on.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so yeah, 4,000 gallons of fuel times $4 would be $16,000 worth of fuel, right? So now we're going to take your 28 plus 16 adds up to, feels like more than 40, right? So I spent more than $40,000 on that car, on the Civic, but the Chevy Bolt, you have to look at the price of fuel for that. And so if you're buying electricity, you do the math and figure out what does it cost me to do that. And you can compare the two. And then you can compare the carbon footprint of the two. Then you compare the maintenance of the two, and you compare the disposal cost. And you can add all those things up, and then we can talk life cycle cost. We can do this with something as simple as an incandescent light bulb. You probably don't even know what that is anymore. An incandescent light bulb versus an LED light bulb. And don't even think about the CFLs. They're antiquated technology. They're not, they were just transitional. Only think about LEDs anymore. But we'll look at the cost of buying one, $350 versus, I don't know, how much is a LED? Let's just double it. We'll make it $7, right? So the incandescent light bulb costs $350 and the LED costs $7. All right. But the incandescent light bulb might use $20 worth of electricity in its lifetime, and the LED might use $2 worth of electricity in its lifetime. So this becomes a $27 lifetime cost, and this becomes a, I'm sorry, that became a $23.50 lifetime cost, and this one became a
$9.
Thank you. $9 life cycle cost. You follow what I'm saying?
I am.
So I spent more capital cost. I spent more capital cost on the LED, but I spent much lower life cycle cost.
So what you're saying is that people who money is not necessarily a factor when it comes to like picking more energy efficient items because of the overall cost?
No, that's not.
No, okay. I thought that's
Actually,
where we were going.
That is what people reject the idea based on thinking that. They say, well, money is actually really important to me, and I say, that's why you should go for
No,
the LED
exactly.
light bulb. Yeah, because
I mean that people who aren't using these things because they're more expensive, that's not
it's
sound
just a
thinking.
wrong idea. Because what they are not realizing is that they'll end up spending more in operations and maintenance of that activity than they would by buying the cheaper thing. It costs more to operate and maintain, and has a higher carbon footprint. So a lot of the things that we're trying to do right now involve spending a little bit more upfront, and definitely doing some very, very careful thought, situation-specific thought, and spending more money up front to reduce our life cycle costs and reduce our life cycle impact. All the way up to building a whole cogeneration plant, or supplying district energy, supplying pipes that, or installing pipes that supply heating and cooling throughout 180 buildings, right? Does your school have a campus, or is it just one building?
Campus.
Right.
Small
So
campus.
is each one heated and cooled separately, or each one?
Heated and cooled separately. Yeah.
Okay, so if you went to other schools, even just a residential campus, it is a residential school, right? You live there?
Yes.
You might find a boiler room and steam distribution, or if it were a little more modern, or if it were built in Denmark or Sweden, that kind of thing today, it would be hot water distribution and cold water distribution for heating and for air conditioning, all coming from a central plant.
And is that what this facility is modeled after?
So, no, we actually came well before them. We've been distributing steam on campus for 150 years, so it was the 1860s, I think, that Princeton University first installed district steam. So there was a central boiler house that supplied steam to maybe a dozen buildings from one set of boilers in one building, and then the steam went out. And what you can imagine is, even if there's a dozen buildings, like maybe your school campus, and you have a central boiler house, the equipment in that central boiler house can be better attended. You might only need a couple people to have around-the-clock attention. You might have, instead of a dozen buildings with a dozen boilers, you might have one building that only has 2 boilers, one and a backup, or 3, 2 that are needed on the most extreme day, and one that sort of backs up either one of those if they should fail, which is really what we have here.
So what was the fuel source for the steam in the very beginning?
Before the central plant, it was firewood. That would be prior to the 1860s. And then in the 1860s, it would have been coal shoveled into boilers. From the 1860s to the 1960s, it would have been coal. And then in the 1960s, the university converted to natural gas with what we'll call number 6, very heavy, viscous diesel fuel. Number 6 oil, or like crude oil, all right, as the backup. And then in the 1990s, when we built the cogeneration plant, we switched to natural gas with number 2. It's like the kind of diesel that would be used in your home for home heating, or in a Mercedes, or in a backhoe, a front-end loader. So that's the kind of diesel that is our backup fuel today.